The first muscle which we will see in this station is this muscle, which is the pectoralis major muscle. This muscle originates from the sternum and the upper ribs and from the clavicle. So, it has a sternocostal head and clavicular head. Here is the clavicular head, and then it goes upward and laterally to be inserted here in the lateral lip of the bicipital groove. The pectoralis muscle is innervated by the medial and lateral pectoral nerves from the brachial plexus, and its action is flexion, abduction, and medial rotation as the shoulder joint. In addition, if its area of insertion is stabilized, it can raise the ribs of origin. Below the pectoralis major is a smaller muscle known as the pectoralis minor. This muscle originates from the third, fourth, and fifth ribs and goes upward and laterally to be inserted in the coracoid process of the scapula, and this muscle is innervated by branches from the lateral and medial pectoral nerves as well. Then we have a small muscle connecting the clavicle to the first rib, which is called subclavius. It's a very small muscle originating from the first rib and is inserted into the clavicle and is innervated by a nerve to subclavius from the brachial plexus. Then we have this large muscle, which is serratus anterior muscle. This muscle originates from interdigitations from the upper 8 ribs and goes to be inserted in the medial border of the scapula. This is the scapula, this is the lateral border of the scapula, and here is the medial border of the scapula where the serratus anterior muscle is inserted. In addition, it is inserted to the inferior angle of the scapula. Serratus anterior receives its nerve supply through this nerve, which is the long thoracic nerve from the brachial plexus. The action of this muscle is to move the scapula forward around the thoracic wall and to do an action when you are elevating your arm above 90 degree. So, by tilting the scapula, you can elevate your arm above the 90 degree. Then we have this muscle here, which is called the subscapularis muscle. The subscapularis muscle originates from the subscapular fossa and inserted into the lesser tubercle of the humerus and is innervated by 2 nerves. One is this nerve is called the lower subscapular nerve, and another nerve here is the upper subscapular nerve. So, the subscapularis is innervated by the upper and lower subscapular nerves. In the middle between those two nerves is this nerve, which is formerly known as the middle subscapular nerve, and is now known as the thoracodorsal nerve that innervate the latissimus dorsi that we will see in the next station. The muscles of the anterior compartment of the arm are the coracobrachialis, the biceps brachii, and the brachialis muscle. The coracobrachialis muscle originates from the coracoid process just lateral to the insertion of this muscle, which is the pectoralis minor muscle, and goes downward to be inserted here in the medial part of the humerus. It's innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve and is a weak flexor of the shoulder joint. In addition, it adducts the shoulder joint, but it's a weak adductor as well. Lateral to the coracobrachialis is this muscle, which is the biceps brachii muscle, and it's called biceps because it has two heads. This is the short head and this is the long head. The short head originates from the coracoid process as well, lateral to the origin of the coracobrachialis muscle. The long head goes upward and it originates actually from the supraglenoid tubercle. The two heads join each other to form the flesh of the muscle, and then the tendon that is inserted into the tubercle of the radius and into the bicipital aponeurosis. The most deep muscle is the brachialis, and the brachialis originates from the anterior part of the shaft of the humerus and is inserted into the ulna. The biceps action is flexion at the elbow joint, and it has another action which is supination, this action. In addition, the long head causes flexion at the shoulder joint. The brachialis flexes the elbow joint. All those muscles are innervated by this nerve, which is the musculocutaneous nerve.